because I can't understand you. I got you.
I don't have this second one.
You're watching Totally True Crime.
Totally True Crime.
Judy Malinowski was born in Columbus, Ohio on the 26th of August 1983. She was raised in a loving home in the suburbs, and she had a sister Danielle and a brother Patrick, who she was particularly close to. She graduated from high school in 2001, and she was crowned homecoming queen. She went on to study at the Ohio State University, and she was described by others as free-spirited and quick-witted. She was glamorous and outgoing, competing in beauty pageants. But in her early adulthood, Judy was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She had treatment and beat it, and she then went on to have 2 daughters with a partner who she later split up with. Her daughters Kaylin and Madison were her world, and she threw herself into being a mother. But in 2006, Judy's cancer returned, and this time she was advised to undergo a hysterectomy. She had the operation, and it was during her recovery that she became addicted to the pain relief that she was being prescribed. Her addiction took hold, and she began using Class A drugs. She wanted to get better for her family, and with their support, she entered rehabilitation and began to overcome her addiction. She finished her treatment and was reunited with her 2 adoring daughters, and life was good again. She was attending addiction support groups up to 5 times a week, and she'd become part of a community who was supportive and understanding. In April 2015, Judy reconnected with a man that she'd known from her past. His name was Michael Slager. She was smitten and described Michael as special to her family. After everything she'd been through, everyone who loved Judy wanted to see her happy. But Michael was not the loving, caring man that she deserved. He had a criminal past that included extreme domestic violence and other serious offences. The relationship quickly became volatile and toxic, and what can only be assumed as an attempt to control her, he introduced her to heroin. She was recovering from drug addiction. He knew this, so getting her hooked on this deadly drug was plain evil. He wasn't just reigniting her addiction, he was knowingly taking a mother away from her children. Judy recognised that she was spiralling out of control and booked herself into a drug rehabilitation programme. On the 2nd of August 2015, Judy and Michael were on their way to the programme. On the way, they got out to stop to buy cigarettes at a Speedway gas station in Ohio. They got out of the car and started arguing. Judy threw a drink at Michael in frustration, and he walked back to the car. And what happened next was an act of pure evil. Michael returned to Judy holding a can of petrol, and he started to pour it over her. He started at her neck and worked his way down her body. After 30 seconds, he walks away and comes back with a lighter in his hand. He flicks the lighter open and sets Judy on fire. This was all caught on CCTV.
Okay, stop screaming because I can't understand you. I got you.
I don't have this second one.
Michael then goes into the petrol station and grabs a fire extinguisher. Judy is laying on the ground in the most unimaginable pain. He starts to spray her to put out the fire that he's just set, and witnesses to this horrific event start to call 911. Both Judy and Michael are taken to hospital. Michael has burns on his hands. Judy was in a critical condition, and she had burns to over 90% of her body. She ended up with severe facial disfigurement and burns in her throat from where the petrol had gone into her mouth. The police knew who Michael was. He had a criminal record, and he was on their radar. He told them that Judy being set on fire was an accident. He said he'd leant forward to light her cigarette and she caught on fire.
I didn't think I got, there was that, realized it was going to be that.
Sure.
So I walked over to give her a light. That was it.
And then she just...
And when she went up, I couldn't believe it. I just didn't think it was going to be like that.
The police knew this wasn't true, but they needed to get a rock-solid case against Michael. They knew that would mean getting a statement from Judy on what had happened. But Judy had been placed in a medically induced coma when she arrived at the hospital to stop her from feeling the pain. Her prognosis was not looking good. Knowing that time was of the essence, the doctors looking after her said there was something they could do. They could bring Judy out of her coma so she could talk to investigators, but it would mean that she would feel the pain that she was in. They consulted Judy's family, who agreed that she needed justice. Judy was brought out of her coma, and she managed to nod her head when the investigator asked her if Michael had been the one to set her on fire. She was then placed back into her coma so she could be pain-free again. Michael was also in the hospital, being treated for burns to his hands, and sitting in his hospital bed, the police come to talk to him for a second time. He admitted that he'd lied, and he was placed under arrest while Judy's family kept a vigil by her bedside. They were told it was unlikely that she'd ever recover, and they were essentially waiting for her to pass away. Then the police could arrest Michael for murder. But Judy showed that she was made of strong stuff. The days that she was predicted to survive turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. Judy's family had had no idea how bad things had been between the couple, and they did not know about Michael's extensive criminal history. His criminal record not only had consistent domestic violence charges, but also sexual battery and child endangerment. It was also clear that Michael preyed on women who had addiction issues. He knew he could control them. He didn't use drugs himself, yet he would buy them for the women in his life. In 2016, Judy was still alive. In fact, her condition had started to improve. So investigators made the decision to charge Michael with aggravated arson and felonious assault. He entered a plea of not guilty, and the trial was set for December 2016. But then something incredible happened. Judy was now well enough to testify from her hospital bed. Investigators got everything in place, and Judy prepared what she was going to say. She started mentally and physically preparing herself to finally be heard and tell the world what this man had done to her. But upon hearing that she would be doing this, Michael changed his plea to guilty. This meant there was now no need for her to testify. Michael had managed to silence her again. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison. He showed no remorse and no emotion, even as he stood in front of Judy's family, who told him and the judge how Judy was the one serving the real-life sentence. But this was not the end. Judy was about to make history. Judy started to deteriorate. Doctors knew that it was now a matter of time before her body could take no more and she would pass away. And when she died, prosecutors were adamant that they were going to charge Michael with her murder. Judy was adamant that her death would not be in vain. She wanted to fight for other victims of domestic violence. Judy and her mother Bonnie were approached with an idea by the prosecutors in her case. They asked Judy if she was willing to be filmed testifying from her hospital bed. This testimony would then be used in her future murder trial. There was one huge downside. Judy would need to be free of pain medication in order to have a clear head while she testified. Knowing this would mean that she would be in excruciating pain, she took the brave decision to testify. She'd had over 60 surgeries in 17 months. Her mother Bonnie told the press that she knew her daughter finally needed to rest. So with this last incredible act of bravery, Judy was filmed testifying from her bed in January 2017. A judge had ruled that should Judy die, this video evidence would be admissible in a future trial. A prosecutor and Judy's attorney, who ensured the video met legal standards, were present, alongside Michael's defence attorney, who spent around 2/3 of the recording cross-examining Judy. She was under oath the whole time. Judy's mother Bonnie, her 2 daughters, and other members of her family watched via a video link. The recording went on for 3 hours, and here are some extracts from Judy's groundbreaking testimony.
Hi, Judy.
I
Judy, let's talk about the moment that you were set on fire.
He ran around to the other side of his truck, and he got his gallons of gasoline that he had kept in the back of his truck. It was really big and had a lot of gas. He ran around to me and started pouring gasoline, started up my head and worked his way down. Some got in my throat as he did that. That hurt really bad.
After he poured the gasoline on you, what happens next?
He backed away from me for about 30 seconds, and I kept telling him to please help me and stop, and I'll get the truck, I'll go with you. You know, why would you do this? And I looked at him, and he pulled a lighter out of his pocket, and he started walking towards me, and I just remember crying and begging for help, and he let me on fire, and the look in his eyes went black, literally, after I was set on fire, and he backed away. His eyes just turned black as I screamed for his help.
And when he approached you with the lighter, what did he look like?
Like a baby's child. He appeared to be full of rage and yet calm at the same time.
Judy, tell me how that moment felt when you were ignited.
It felt horrible. I don't think words can describe what it feels like to have your whole body's on fire. I can remember the fire out of my face and eyes. I can remember screaming for help. I can remember looking over and seeing him just standing there staring at me. I thought for sure I was dying. I just prayed to Jesus to please forgive me for my sins and to take care of my children. And that was it. I blacked out and I don't remember anything until I woke up in the hospital.
Can you tell me about the pain that you live with?
I had to push myself to make it through every day. I have to really tell myself why I'm doing this, and I have to just breathe through it and be now.
Michael's defence attorney, Robert Krapenik, said that he didn't want this testimony to be admissible in court, and these are the reasons he gave as to why.
The coroner's report hadn't been created yet. The toxicology report had not been created yet. I don't know what was in her system. I don't know what I could have asked her. I don't have all the information, and that's again why the rule is what the rule is.
But Judy changed the rules. The judge agreed that this video could be used in her murder trial. This, along with the CCTV footage, created a very strong case against Michael. Judy died 5 months later on the 27th of June 2017, aged 33. She'd survived almost 23 months, despite doctors initially giving her just days to live. Hundreds turned up to pay their respects at her funeral to a woman who was changing history from beyond the grave. Michael Slager was charged with Judy's murder, and his trial was set for July 2018. he entered a guilty plea. Ohio is a death penalty state, and incredibly, Judy had expressed her wish for him to not be given the death penalty, rather hoping he would find religion whilst he was serving his time in prison. Michael Slager will spend the rest of his life behind bars, and Judy is now finally at peace. Judy's legacy didn't end there. In 2017, Judy's law was unanimously passed at the Ohio House and came into effect shortly after she passed away. It means that a mandatory 6-year prison term is added to any felonious assault conviction where an accelerant, like petrol, is used during an attack and the victim suffers permanent, serious disfigurement or substantial incapacitation as a result. These extra 6 years cannot be reduced by early release parole programs. Judy's family continue her legacy through a charity they set up in her name. It's called Judy's Foundation, and I've linked their website in the show notes. Their foundation helps victims that have dealt with or are dealing with domestic violence, drug addiction, and human trafficking. They continue to spread the message behind Judy's law, and they're also developing software that will assist first responders when dealing with abusers, as well as setting up Judy's House, a complex offering safety and resources. Before Judy died, she said, quote, "I never want another woman to go through what I've been through. If I can help only one, it will have been worth it." Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting, please subscribe for more weekly true crime videos like this. You've been watching Totally True Crime.